Our technical meltdown Twins discussion is powered by our friends at Dennis Kirk. So, long winter, spring, and baseball season are here. Riding season is here. And so if you like to be outside, enjoy the weather, whatever you ride, whether it's Harleys, Metric Cruisers, sport bikes, you'll find what you need at DennisKirk.com. 160,000 parts and accessories in stock, clothing and helmets as well. If you order by 8 p.m., they'll ship the same day. Plus, shipping is free for orders over $89. The best in the business, DennisKirk.com. Everything you need for your ride at DennisKirk.com.
Just like a boy band, too, I have slid over to the right of the screen now, so I'm now, my dance moves have got me over here, so now I'm on the right side.
Thanks, Timberlake.
Nice job, nice job there, Lance Bass. Way to go.
Oh, Lance, all right. Man, ouch.
Let's hear from... What's wrong with Lance Bass, man?
Yeah, I don't want to be Lance Bass. I don't want to be Lance Bass.
He wanted to be Timberlake. I gave him Timberlake.
I want to be I'm Timberlake always. I want to be Timberlake.
I mean, Timberlake's a legend, man. I mean, you don't just be handing out the Timberlake comparisons.
I guess.
It's always fun to hear other people, like national people, prominent former players and ESPN shows talking about our Minnesota sports team. So Declan has a clip here from ESPN's The Jump. This is Rachel Nichols and a bunch of former credible NBA players. Is it fair to say them just sort of arguing over what the Minnesota Timberwolves are?
I would say it's Richard Jefferson saying that this team needs something else to really put itself over the top in the West and be a force, where Rachel and Perkins are more saying that just, this inept franchise, let them just have a 7 or 8 seed. So they kind of go back and forth a little bit.
Yeah, no, I think D'Lo's a bucket. I think we know. But I think ultimately, until they are until D'Angelo Russell and Karl-Anthony Towns are your second and third best player, I don't think you're an actual high-level postseason team.
See, I thought you were going to say until Karl-Anthony Towns and D'Angelo Russell are consistently healthy and playing together. Can we, let's
I think they can make the postseason. I think they can make the postseason with Anthony Edwards and all. Like he said, I think they could be a 7 seed. But your goal is not to be a 7 seed. Yes, that's a step in the right direction. But how do you get to 3, 4, 1, 2? How do you get to that? You got to have better players.
Can I say, okay.
Where's Perk? I wanted Perk. Perk was going to jump in.
I think Perk wound up disagreeing there, but just on what Richard Jefferson just said, I just want to stand up here, give him a round of applause, because it's not our fault, okay? It's not our fault. There's a generation, 2 generations of Minnesota sports fans. If you were born after 1980, or maybe more like 1985. If you're like, I'm 1985, I barely remember the Twins World Series in 1991. 30 years of the major men's professional sports teams, 0 championships. And we have lowered our expectation bar so much. If the Vikings go 10-6 and win the division and put up a good fight in one playoff game, like, all right, come back and get them next year, right? That's good enough. Well, if the Timberwolves can just get back to the playoffs and be a 7 seed, and I get that that's ultimately step 1 in a path, maybe higher up in the Western Conference standings at some point. But like what Richard Jefferson just said is 100% right. Raise your expectations. It's not about just sneaking back in the playoffs. And I get that there's been such a long drought that it might feel like that's the goal. But you should be building towards something bigger with getting into the playoffs as the first step to that bigger goal. And so, listen, we'll get to see it play out with the new big 3 here with the Timberwolves. And we'll get to see another month's worth of games in this regular season. But I like that he was pushed on it. So what do you mean they can't get? No, they can get to the playoffs. But the question is Karl-Anthony Towns a true 1? Is D'Lo a true max player? What can Ant be? So I like that he's questioning the expectations of the Timberwolves.
I like that he's questioning expectations, and I like that he's putting a blanket over his statement, which I believe to be true, which is your goal should not be, can I just be an 8 seed, please? Can I play with the big kids? Your goal should be to find a way to be in contention for actual playoff runs and championships, which the Wolves obviously are not near yet. But he's wrong on one thing. D'Lo can contribute, and I'm not saying that he can't be a part of this team, and he can be an important part, okay? But for anyone watching the Wolves now, and we've talked about this, and it's absolutely going to be true, if this is going to get where he's talking about, okay? So let's say you're not just, oh, man, I'm a 7 seed. This is the greatest day of my life. Let's say you're trying to shoot for a, 3 or 4 seed or something above that. This is going to be the cat and ant show D'Lo will be important possibly, and he will play a role, and it'll be an also starring. So if we were to give credits, okay, like if this was a TV show and we had credits and we knew who was being paid the most to be on our show, Cat for sure has to be. He just has to be. But then it's Ant, and then it's special guest appearance by D'Lo, or also starring D'Lo.
Yeah.
So this is not, to be clear, if you're watching this team now, I think that we need to get past now that they're going to play together, are Cat and D'Lo going to be the pairing that we thought? I don't know. But I don't care as much as I previously did, because this is going to be on and off the court too, Phil. This is going to be the Cat and Ant show with special guest star D'Angelo Russell.
Yeah, I think right now D'Lo is the better player between him and Ant, just in terms of sort of understanding what to do off the ball and like that. If you go back, I think it was our guy Key Sang on Twitter. He posted like 3 or 4 clips of D'Lo working off the ball in that game against the Kings, and just showing his basketball IQ. Like he's in a different spot because he's 5 or 6 years into the league, and so he kind of understands the nuances that a guy who's only played 40 games in the league like Ant just hasn't figured out yet. But when you just look at those two guys and you look at their physical size and frame, and you look at the things that they can do on the court to get to different spots, D'Lo is good. Ant has the potential to be great, like one of the best players in the NBA at some point. I'm not going to put that on him now or next year, but his upside is higher than D'Lo's. And I think just in the small sampling we've seen of his personality and him in press conferences and the way that teammates sort of gravitate toward him, he has more of an it factor than D'Lo has too. So all of those things are percolating, to steal a word from ESPN's Bob Lee, but I don't think Ant is there yet. So it's this, how does that dynamic play out over the next couple years is going to be the most interesting question.
But the Wolves aren't to where Jefferson was talking about them being. They're not there too. And I'm saying to be there, like if they get to, and a lot can go wrong, it's the Wolves. But if the Timberwolves get to where Jefferson is talking about that they should aspire to be, then it's changed. Then it is Cat, Ant, D'Lo. If he's here, he probably will be. That's how it's going to fall. Ant has an it factor, and if you just look, I mean, the guy's 19. Like, look at what he's doing, as much off the court as on, at the age of 19. It's, to me, it's so impressive because you can't walk into a room and say, my name's Ant, and this is my right? This is my team, and we're going to do Zooms together, and it's going to be fun. You either have that or you don't. He does. And the importance of that beyond the statistics and beyond the ordinary things that we like to break down, to me, are incredibly important.
Yeah, and I know that there's a lot of big D'Lo fans that listen to our show either via podcast or on YouTube, and I'm not sitting here trying to make this about like casting shade upon D'Lo, because D'Lo is a good player. He's a really good offensive player, and I think there's more upside there that's really untapped that maybe Chris Finch can unlock, especially some of the off the ball stuff. Like at first, we watched Rubio and D'Lo together early in the year, and it was like, well, D'Lo doesn't want to play off the ball. Clearly, this isn't going to work. And what's smarter film watching Wolves writers and bloggers have pointed out is actually D'Lo is great off the ball if the system is running the right way, so that the ball sort of comes back to him in certain situations. That game against the Kings is a great example of how you can use D'Lo off the ball and how Ant can maybe be used off the ball. So I guess what I'm saying is Chris Finch, I think, can put these pieces together better than Ryan Saunders was. And Ryan just needs like 5 more years as an assistant behind Eric Spoelstra or something, and then I think he'll be a head coach again. But my biggest issue with D'Lo is twofold. One, this is his 4th team in 5 years in the NBA. And there's a reason for that. Like, guys who are bona fide star leader, like worth the max contract guys, aren't just bouncing around in trades. Like, Brooklyn would have had him and said, "Oh my God, I can't believe the Lakers traded us this guy. We got to build around this guy, right?" The Warriors would have said, "I know that we have a logjam at guard, but holy cow, like this dude is ridiculous. And our two guards are in their 30s now, so we got to find a way." Like it's always been, we like D'Lo, but we're willing to trade him to somebody else because we're not in love with D'Lo, and I consider that to be a little bit of a red flag in terms of in terms of a guy being the leader of your team. I just don't think he's that. I don't think Cat's personality is that.
Cat's not either.
Right. So it doesn't mean that those guys are trash or that they need to just be punted to the curb. But I think it means that there's going to be some changes in the pecking order of this team over the next 2 or 3 years. And I will oversimplify it this way too. If you're going to make noise in the playoffs in 2021-22 NBA, you need a guard who can drop like 30, 35 points against a good team, like who can get into a shootout and just go. D'Lo sometimes is that guy, but I think Ant has a chance to be that guy almost every night. Like a guy who just says, "I'm scoring 35 or 40 tonight because I want to."
And he lifts people up around him too, though. Like that's the most important thing is he's going to lift guys up. All right, much like our championship thing, where we explained a while back, we're not ripping teams because we hate them. We're challenging them to win championships. Two guys that I'd like to make clear that I'm not ripping teammates. They are just better. Ant, I think, is going there. I'm not positive yet, but I think he's going there. And I know that his personality elevates people, okay? And Kaprizov. I'm not ripping Wild and Wolves players below them. They are just better. They are better than their teammates. They have more talent than most. Like, Cat is still great. That's fine. But I'm not ripping guys who, when I spew superlatives about Ant or Kaprizov, I'm not ripping their teammates. What we're saying is these guys are special. And that's one thing in this town. We don't get special a ton. And when we do, we have to embrace it. And a guy like Cousins probably pays the price because he's not special. He's good. He's not special. But when you see guys that have, to your point, Phil, the it factor, or when you see guys that you say that is a superstar, not a star, a superstar talent, that means that player is superior to the majority of the people he plays with.
Yep. Last 19 games for Ant Edwards as a 19-year-old, 24 points a game, 5.5 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, and he's got the shooting percentage. It's not amazing, but it's at least 42%. And within that span, he dropped a 40-burger. He's had a couple 30-point games. He's had some clunkers as well, which you're going to have when you're 19 years old. But, yeah, a lot of this it comes off as you're ripping D'Lo. It's probably in the presentation on my part, but I think the world of Ant's potential, and maybe the answer in Richard Jefferson's. Richard Jefferson was sort of speculating on how far D'Lo and Cat can take the Wolves, and the answer there might be Anthony Edwards is the one that's going to jump over both of those guys at some point. Not now, maybe not next year, but maybe that's the thing that unlocks something beyond just sneaking into the playoffs.
To make my boy band analogy, basically the Timberwolves are like 98 degrees, and they need something else to put them at the top of like NSYNC and Backstreet Boys level. That's my contribution to this Wolves conversation, by the way.
I feel like you're shortchanging 98 degrees.
I like 98
definitely
degrees.
Definitely a playoff team in a really, really crowded boy band conference back in the late 90s. They
right,
were like
but did they ever
third seed, man?
Did they ever ascend though to a Western Conference Finals or get on the same level as NSYNC, Backstreet Boys, and even like Boys to Men? I don't think so. I think they're a big step down.
I think they hit #1 on Total Request Live a couple times on MTV.
Oh, okay, all right.
With Carson Daly
had him in.
Fat Carson Daly or skinny Carson Daly? Which one was it?
And the Wolves made 8 straight playoffs.
You remember Carson Daly? Hey, I weigh 120 pounds. Now I'm up to 275. What do you think about that? I love Carson Daly.
Definitely fluctuates. Not that any of us, or at least...
Well, I do. No, I do too. I can speak to that problem.
By the way,
Amen.
our Wolves discussion today presented by a mutual friend of the Wolves and us here at SKOR North, Federated Mutual Insurance Company, which recently launched My Shield, the online client destination for risk management resources. If you're a business owner out there and you're a Minnesota sports fan, it's a good intersection for you to check out federatedinsurance.com. Find out what MyShield can do for you, peace of mind, maximizing your business's potential. And you can also download the app. It's free to download. But remember, at Federated, it's our business to protect yours. All right, we